Okay, this is the kind of table with the Geekbench scores of Apple CPUs. I did calculate the score per gigahertz, which I call IPC, and so we can actually kind of predict the performance for the next A14 by making average, which is like a 13.5% here. And actually we can create our virtual A14 Firestorm. And we will do, so we will add this result, the IPC step, to the original 502 score here, and by multiplication by this you will receive 570, and this score is per gigahertz, so the predicted frequency for the Apple chip is probably 2.8 gigahertz and probably 3 gigahertz for the laptops and desktops, because the last year A13 Lightning Core has a 2.65 on 7 nanometer, but this A14 will be 5 nanometer TSMC, so 2.8 is expected frequency for the iPhone and some ultra low consumption laptops like a 15 TDP. And the score predicted is, you can see, 1600 without 3 points, but it's 1600. And let's take a look also for the multi-thread. And multi-thread is somewhere here. No, this is single thread. Yeah, this is actually also interesting. This is the prediction of the kind of frequency scaling based on TSMC. Actually, they can reach some higher frequencies. The 2.8 is actually the expected for the iPhone 12. The 3 gigahertz is expected 15% uplift given by 5 nanometer from 7 nanometer. And they can actually, if they use extreme LVT technology, they can go with the speed up to 3.3. So this is this result. And if they use the high performance, which usually the CPUs is using, like AMD is using the high performance version of the same process, but you sacrifice a lot of density. Apple is not normally not using it for the mobile, like iPads and iPhones, but for the next year, they can use it for desktop chips. So they might go with this high performance up to 3.6 gigahertz. And this is the predicted Geekbench score. Yeah, theoretically they can go up to 2000 Geekbench points, which is absolutely, this would be devastating actually, even it's possible. Well, there's a question if they can, their caches, they can handle such a higher frequency. We don't know, but I would say the safe prediction is this range actually, which is still really devastating to x86. Okay, let's talk now about multi-thread performance. So 15 TDP here, the Apple MacBook will need to downclock to 2.2 gigahertz to keep the 15 watt TDP, and the projected score in the Geekbench is 10,000 points, which is actually the range where the Comet Lake 10900K is operating. So, and it's consuming more than 160 watts. It's like 10 times more than the laptop. And this is the biggest difference. You can see that x86 CPUs are really in the deep trouble because AMD Ryzen, the Renoir, this is the best CPU for the laptops right now, and the multi-thread score has around 7,000 points with a TDP 15 watts, but it will be outperformed by Apple by really 50%. Yeah, but to understand why Apple is providing such incredible performance, we need to go back and yeah, so see those numbers are presented to you, and actually we need to do deep dive why Apple is able to provide such an incredible performance. And the answer is that Apple has absolutely monstrous architecture. I did some investigation and I look at some score of the benchmark of Apple A13 Lightning here, and I realized very interesting thing that because the IPC of the A13 is plus 82% over Intel Comet Lake. And this is not a joke actually, because let's see the numbers actually, and yeah, this is the benchmark which you can find on the Anantech. Just don't trust me, go to the Anantech or some other and you will see the similar things here, because you will see the CPU, the Apple A13 is consuming only 4.6 watts, while actually providing, do you see this red arrow? And it's actually outperforming Ryzen. The 16-core Ryzen is outperformed by iPhone 11 actually. This is a huge problem for x86, because when I saw it for the first time, I was really shocked actually. I couldn't believe that this is happening, and because I was searching for, actually this review is about the Snapdragon, you can see here, but kind of accidentally there is also showing of course the competition Apple A13, and but the Andrei Frumusamu put the score of the Intel 9900K and the 16-core Ryzen. This is the fastest CPUs at the time, and you can see the Apple is actually outperforming Ryzen and is getting really close to the 5 gigahertz Coffe Lake refresh. So I was really shocked. So I immediately calculated the IPC. And when you calculate the IPC in the integer, because this is the spec and this is the integer and this is the floating point, and when you calculate the integer, the performance per gigahertz, so there is the Zen 2 has a 50 points per 4.6 gigahertz, let's say. So you will get something like a 10.87 points per gigahertz. Intel is similar score, which is actually reasonable because the IPC is plus minus same. But look at the Apple, it's running only 2.6 gigahertz and it's providing 52 points. So actually the performance per gigahertz is almost double. And when you do the ratio and you compare the IPC, it results that the IPC is 84% higher. 84% higher IPC than Intel and also AMD, guys. AMD is maybe a little bit better, but in the integer, this is the integer, and this is absolutely devastating. It's like a AMD and Intel is always fighting like who is going to have a higher IPC by 5%, 10%. And now if the Ice Lake has a 18% higher IPC, it's a big change, And but here we are talking about 84% higher IPC, and actually this is absolutely shocking number. And I actually expected this is some kind of typo that Andrei Frumusamu put the decimal point on some wrong place. So instead of 52 is maybe 5.2, but probably not, because he would need to make a typo in every arm measurement here. So actually, yeah, this is the really cruel reality right now the x86 is facing, and especially when you compare the power consumption, because the 16-core Ryzen on Anantech review is showing here the 41 watts power consumption. This is really high, and just the cores, they are using like a 19 watts. This is like at least almost 10 times more than Apple actually. So you can see it's really shocking, and it's hard to comment. And if you look at the floating point, it's a little bit better because Apple is somewhere here. So you can say, yeah, Zen 2 is better in the floating point. Good. Apple is beating Apple A13, so it's not that bad. But still, if you calculate the IPC, the performance per gigahertz, and then you put the ratio and you calculate the IPC, you can see, yeah, the Apple is stronger in the integer, x86 is stronger in the kind of floating point, but stronger. Yeah, still the Apple is like 61% higher IPC in the floating point, so stronger. It's like just the gap is lower actually, but still there is a huge 61% IPC gap. AMD is better. AMD has only 52%, but still there is like 52% IPC. Jesus Christ, that's an incredible number. So when I see this, I was kind of shocked, and I need to understand why is this actually possible, because Apple, nobody actually is doing reviews and saying Apple has the absolutely best IPC on the world. Again, it's smashing the x86 as usual. No, there is no reviews like this actually, and so this was kind of shocking, and I was like really wonder how long is Apple evolving those CPUs, because if you look at here, the Apple A12, the Vortex core is somewhere here. Apple A11, the Monsoon core is somewhere here. So you can see that it's really super powerful in terms of IPC. So like it was not jump from somewhere here, jump to IPC like here. No, Apple had a IPC really incredible, really long time. So I was like wondering how long Apple is pushing this IPC, because this is not a coincidence. This is not a typo actually. So let's take a look on IPC evolution of the Apple chips, because this is really incredible.